Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the council meeting to order and have a roll call.
Alderperson Robinson,
Present.
Hurt,
Here.
Maynard,
Here.
Swanson, here, Parker,
Here.
Pulis,
Here.
Healy,
Here.
and Mayor Tomes.
Here. Thank you. Could we raise for the Pledge of Allegiance and stay for a moment of silence? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Okay. Public comment. We have one person that's signed up. And I'm trying to read the name. Daniel? There we go. We try to keep it at 5 minutes if we can, please. Yeah. Hang on.
A lot of years. Thank you. And now I live in Rock Island because I moved back to my hometown. Around the corner from me is a guy that used to live here over 100 years ago. And I'm sure everybody knows the name John Looney.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you don't, well, you should because it's pretty interesting. There was a movie about him quite a few years ago with Paul Newman as John Looney and Tom Hanks. And so I write songs, I record all over, I'm all over social media. And one day I was writing a song and I said it felt like a mobster vibe to me. And what I did is I ran and watched Road to Perdition with Paul Newman and started writing this song. And I said, I'm going to write about John Looney. So my question tonight, real quick, is it's on the CD. I'm getting a lot of airplay locally out of a station in Erie, Illinois named WQUD, I think is the call letters. But anyway, I don't know if any way because it's elicited a lot of information. I've done a deep dive on this guy quite a bit. I find him fascinating just because it was kind of um, the perfect storm with I think with prohibition happening and just everything happening in the early 1900s. And so what I was thinking that if I've got this song, I don't know if any way, I'm not looking for any uh, self admiration, but if any way it would help the city of Rock Island in any way, I'd be fascinated to. I'd be willing to express my interest and work with anybody. I don't know. They used to do a tour, and I've got a little booklet. I think about 10 years ago they did like a John Looney tour, and I don't know if Rock Island is ashamed of this or not. I'd be interested, or people just don't care anymore. Um, his historical mansion I find extremely fascinating. I drove by it today because I live around the corner, and it's the guy that owns it now. I think he might be a realtor. I'm not sure. Do you know, Mike? No. But they're refurbishing it quite a bit. So after living on the West Coast for so many years, to come back home to where I grew up across the river in Davenport, I find the history here fascinating that I didn't appreciate at a much younger age. So I'm kind of enthralled by that. But anyway, I have a CD for you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Okay,
Yep.
I'm going to give that to you. I've got them available if anybody wants them. I'm all over the internet. I'm on Pandora, iTunes, Spotify, everywhere. So I have my own website. But anyway, I wanted to glorify this beautiful city of Rock Island. So I wrote a song about John Looney.
Okay.
That's under 5 minutes. There you go. All right, thank you. May I give that to you?
Yes, you may.
All right, I'll approach the bench.
You bet. Thank you. All right. That's all that signed up for that. We have item number 6.
A proclamation declaring October 24th, 2024 World Polio Day. Whereas Rotary is a global network of neighbors, friends, leaders, and problem solvers who unite and take action to create lasting change in communities across the globe. And whereas the Rotary motto is service above self, inspiring members to provide humanitarian service, follow high ethical standards, and promote goodwill and peace in the world. And whereas Rotary in 1985 launched Polio Plus, and in 1988 helped establish the Global Polio Eradication Initiative, which today includes the World Health Organization, U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, UNICEF, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, to immunize the children of the world against polio. And whereas polio cases have dropped by 99.9% since 1988, and the world stands on the threshold of eradicating this disease. And whereas to date, Rotary has contributed more than $2.2 billion and countless volunteer hours to protecting nearly 3 billion children in 122 countries. And whereas Rotary is working to raise an additional $50 million per year, which would be leveraged for maximum impact by an additional $100 million annually from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And whereas these efforts are providing much needed operational support, medical staff, lab equipment, and educational materials for health workers and parents, and whereas in addition, Rotary has played a major role in decisions by donor governments to contribute more than $10 billion to this effort. And whereas there are over 1.2 million Rotary members and 36,000 clubs throughout the world, and sponsor service projects to address such critical issues as poverty, disease, hunger, illiteracy, and the environment in their local communities and abroad. And whereas the Rotary Club of Rock Island has been a leader in northwestern Illinois and to date has contributed in excess of $50,000 towards the Rotary effort to eliminate polio from the world.
Therefore, I, Mike Tomes, Mayor of the City of Rock Island, Illinois, do hereby proclaim 24 October World Polio Day in Rock Island and encourage all citizens to join me and Rotary International in the fight for polio-free world. I don't believe there's anybody here. That's the reason I didn't come down front. He was supposed to try to get here, but was that? Oh, Rob. All right. Well, that's a great deal. As you saw, of course, they reduced it by 99, almost 100%. There's just a few cases in the world left. It just popped up. Okay. Item 7, update Rock Island. A couple items here. We have Rock Island Unplugged. Join myself and city council members for a casual public forum we call Rock Island Unplugged. The event takes place next Wednesday, October 23rd, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Stern Center, 1713 3rd Avenue in Rock Island. Enjoy free hot appetizers and beverages while you take part in a question and answer session with elected officials and some department directors outside the City Hall setting. Fright Night in the Park. Get your costumes ready for a free Halloween event just for kids. Fright Night in the Park, presented by Goodwill for the Heartland of the Heartland, will be held Thursday, October 24th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Schwiebert Riverfront Park in Rock Island. This annual Halloween celebration is a community favorite, bringing visitors and families to experience all things spooky, thrilling, and enchanting and eerie. Guests can explore vendor booths, enjoy eerie entertainment, and get a Halloween spirit. First Ward, Trunk or Treating. Families are invited to take part in trunk or treating, hosted by First Ward Alderman Moses Robinson on Thursday, October 31st from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. along 9th Street in front of the MLK Center. This free and fun event offers a safe alternative for kids going door to door. Candy, hot dogs, chips, and music will be provided. This event is sponsored by Second Baptist Church Community Caring Conference and Omega Phi Fraternity. National Prescription Drug Take Back Day. On Saturday, October 26th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., The Cause, a Rock Island County coalition, and the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration will partner with local law enforcement to host the National Prescription Drug Take Back Day. This is an opportunity for the public to prevent pill abuse and theft by ridding their homes of potential dangerous, expired, or unused, unwanted medicines. Bring your pills and patches for disposal to the Rock Island County Justice Center, 1317 3rd Avenue in Rock Island. And to remind everybody, trick or treating in Rock Island is October 31st from 5 to 8 p.m. That's all I have. Item number 8.
I'll read the first three ordinances. A report from the Community Development Department regarding an ordinance establishing a date for a public hearing on a new downtown TIF redevelopment plan and project, first reading. B, report from the Community and Economic Development Department regarding an application from Shahid Mohammed and Jarrell Webster to purchase city-owned property at 1120 4th Avenue for $647 plus closing costs. C, report from the Economic Development Department regarding a Fourth Amendment to the development agreement with LRC Developers, Inc., first reading.
Motion to consider suspend the rules and pass the ordinance for A through C.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderperson
Aye.
Swanson,
Aye.
Parker,
Aye.
Pulis,
Aye.
Healy,
Aye.
Robinson,
Aye.
and Hertz.
Aye.
Item number 8, D and E.
Report from the Economic Development Department regarding a franchise agreement between Mid-American Energy and the City of Rock Island to provide natural gas service. First reading. E, report from Economic Development Department regarding a franchise agreement between Mid-American Energy and the City of Rock Island to provide electrical service to Rock Island. First reading.
Motion to consider the ordinances D and E.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderperson Maynard,
Aye.
Swanson,
Aye.
Parker,
Aye.
Pulis,
Aye.
Healy,
Aye.
Robinson,
Aye.
and Hertz.
Aye.
Item number 9A.
An ordinance regarding changes to the Rock Island Court of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Article 1, Section 2-5 and 2-6 Legal Department, and Chapter 11, Article 2, Community and Economic Development Ordinances, second reading.
Move to pass the ordinance with the exception of a correction on a Scribner's error on 2-5, the legal department. It was paragraph 2. An extra letter was put in there.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
Good job, Mark.
That's what I said. Nice catch.
Roll call, please.
Alderperson Maynard,
Aye.
Swanson,
Aye.
Parker,
Aye.
Pulis,
Aye.
Healy,
Aye.
Robinson,
Aye.
and Hertz.
Aye.
Item 9B.
An ordinance regarding changes to the Rock Island Code of Ordinances, Article 3, Division 2, Section 2-67 and 2-70, City Manager Appointment and Removal Ordinance, second reading.
Move to pass the ordinance.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderperson Maynard,
Aye.
Swanson,
Aye.
Parker,
No.
Pulis,
Aye.
Healy,
Aye.
Robinson,
Aye.
and Hertz.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 9C.
Report from the Mayor's Office and Administration regarding a resolution for a moratorium on all new retail tobacco and vape dealer tobacco Class B licenses in the corporate city limits expiring December 31st, 2024.
Motion to adopt the resolution.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I'm supportive of this moratorium, but I think as a conversation that Miles, we were having the last time we were meeting here, I was complaining about businesses similar to this type of business, or actually this type of business exactly. And Miles, you brought up the very important point of it's one thing to pass a moratorium to no longer allow these businesses, but it's another thing entirely to redevelop some of the commercial corridors in our community. I was talking specifically about the intersection of 7th Avenue and 24th Street in my ward, but there are plenty of other places within the city where we can't just clamp down on, no vape shop here, but rather we need to be progressive. We need to be proactive in redeveloping these locations. So this is kind of obvious, but I want to remind all of us that this is a solution to a nagging problem, perhaps, but it is not an overall solution that we need to keep our eyes focused on. So I look forward to continued conversations about redevelopment on the commercial the Hilltop Commercial Corridor, 18th Avenue, 14th Avenue. Those parts affect my ward, Greenbush neighborhood, downtown, obviously, but other parts around the city as well.
Okay, well said. Any other discussion?
We discussed trying to figure out exactly how many of these shops we have within the city.
Correct.
That's going to be something we're going to be working
So
on.
I can speak to that just because this happens in the clerk's office. So there are currently 4 Class B licenses. I've had 3 inquiries in the last month, and I've just for new vape shops.
talking about for
And
new
by
ones?
our zoning ordinance, there's 1, 2, I can't remember, but some that based on that they could relocate in the city. So I've done some research. I just know, having a friend work for the city of Moline, they have capped all of their tobacco licenses, and some other cities have done that as well. So I'm thinking, probably looking at Leslie here, that'll probably be our recommendation, is to cap the number of vape shops in the city. But I guess we have till December to figure that out. But that's kind of what drove this.
I wasn't speaking on that. My question is, how many do we currently have?
4.
But the 4 that have licenses, but the ones, I think there are some out there that don't have licenses.
That's what I'm talking
So
about.
we don't know of them.
I'm not
There's
talking about.
not.
I'm not talking about the ones that are licensed, because if it's 4, I have 4 in my ward by myself, so it couldn't be 4 that sell vape.
So if you recall, the city council approved differentiating between a tobacco class A and a class B as an 80% threshold, meaning if I sell 80%, if 80% or more of my sales are derived from tobacco products, then I am considered a vape shop. If I have less than 80%, then I am a convenience store, a class A. So every single gas station now sells vapes. But for example, they also have revenue based on food, liquor, gas, those kind of things. So they're able to come under that 80% threshold.
So my question is, are we going to identify? I get it. They may not be a vape shop, but they're selling vape. I want to know how many we have in the city that are selling vape,
That's right.
because we have a lot. And
Well,
a
I
lot
would
of them
say
are
every
concentrated
one.
in areas
Yeah.
that we probably need to control, just like with the liquor.
Right.
How many are being in those areas?
Probably every one of the convenience stores we have.
Mhm.
Right.
And once again, the percentage and everything else, they're licensed as with tobacco,
Something else.
but not
They
the
found a
other stuff.
loophole.
So we would have to change and work on the ordinance on what percentage could
Right.
be, or whether they can even have vape at all in those. But we got to be careful of the state statute also.
Well, I would recommend doing what Moline did and just take away the different classes and just cap all the tobacco licenses. That would be my recommendation, but I don't know.
But I think we just got off. So
So that
let me back up. All I want to know is, how many do we have within the city that sell vape? Not vape shops, because I understand that's
we have
different
26
classification.
tobacco
Please
licenses
let
in
me
the
finish.
city.
Just let me finish the question. How many do we have within the city of Rock Island that sell vape?
26.
Correct.
And while we're on the subject, I know that it was proposed previously and staff recommended against it, but I still advocate that we ban the sale of flavored tobacco. I still think we should do that. So while we're talking about it, consider it, please.
I think we should also maybe touch on some of the lighting on some of these places. It's kind of
totally
crazy.
agree with that.
I get calls all the time, and it is atrocious on some of the places, but they meet code. So,
Miles, do you want to speak on that?
I can. We did adopt some specific regulations in regards to the kind of string lights in windows. So that is part of the code, and we are working through enforcement on that. I can't comment on the flavored vapes. I think we've discussed kind of that before, but that was adopted in code to address that. There are some other concerns around just the general property maintenance at some of these properties. They kind of fall into a category of business that's often not the best kept. I'm sure they do their best. But yeah, we are working on that particular issue. There is code language for that.
Okay. But yes, I think that with the next couple of months, all of these issues should be looked at and addressed and talked with their concerns. I think we're all in agreement on that. Roll call, please.
Alderperson Maynard,
aye.
Swanson,
Aye.
Parker,
Aye.
Poulos, Healy,
Aye.
Robinson,
Aye.
and Hurt.
Aye.
Item number 10,
Consent agenda items A through H.
Move to approve consent agenda items A through H.
Second.
Moved to second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Maynard.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
And Hurt.
Aye.
Item number 11.
A and B. A, report from the Public Works Department regarding payment in the amount of $9,204.22 to McClintock Trucking and Excavating for a water service repair program. B, report from the Public Works Department regarding payment in the amount of $18,500 to Valley Construction for the Sunset Marina Sediment Basin.
Motion to approve claims item A and B.
Second.
Moved to second. Any discussion?
Due to the nature of my employment, I need to recuse myself from this vote.
Roll call, please.
Alderperson Maynard.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
And Hurt.
Aye.
Item number 12.
A, report from the Public Works Department regarding authorization to negotiate a contract with HDR of Bettendorf, Iowa for engineering services for the 18th Avenue Flood Control Levee Pumping Station upgrades.
Move to authorize city staff to negotiate a contract with HDR.
Second.
Moved to second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderperson Maynard.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
And Hurt.
Aye.
Item 12B.
Report from the Public Works Department regarding authorization to negotiate a contract with IMEG of Rock Island for engineering services on the 31st Avenue, 11th Street to 17th Street reconstruction project and road diet.
Motion to authorize city staff to negotiate a contract with IMEG.
Second.
Moved to second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderperson Maynard.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
And Hurt.
Aye.
Item 12C.
Report from the Public Works Department regarding authorization to negotiate a contract with Hutchinson Engineers of Moline, Illinois for engineering services on the 35th Street West and Rock Island Parkway intersection roundabout.
Motion to authorize city staff to negotiate a contract with Hutchinson Engineering.
Second.
Moved to second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderperson Maynard.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
And Hurt.
Aye.
Item 12D.
Report from the Public Works Department regarding a proposal in the amount of $35,500 from IMEG for engineering services on Valley West development.
Motion to approve the proposal and authorize the city manager to execute the document.
Second.
Moved to second. Any discussion?
Where are we getting the 35 grand to pay for this? Is it the TIF?
No, we would just use a contingency from this year's budget.
Okay, thank you.
Roll call.
Alderperson Maynard.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
And Hurt.
Aye.
Item 12E.
Report from the Finance Department requesting authorization to sign an agreement in the amount of $19,800 with ClearGov from Maynard, Massachusetts for their BCM digital budget book products using ARPA funds unrestricted. Just to clarify, this is coming out of the software budget and it's actually saving us money.
Move to approve the agreement and recommend it, and authorize the city manager to execute the documents.
Second.
Moved to second. Any discussion?
I was just thinking about the big software project briefly. How's that going? Briefly.
Wants to?
Yeah. Or Jessica probably.
Briefly.
Jessica's good
It's
at-
actually going well. We've
Yes.
got the chart of accounts in, and we're in testing and configuration stage right now of the financials. We just kicked off HR 2 weeks ago. So we're in, they do a future state, current state analysis of timekeeping in HR. So we're doing that as well with all of the departments. So it's going well.
It's a long process.
It's a very long
Very
process.
long, years. They-
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Alderperson Maynard.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
And Hurt.
Item 12F.
Report from administration regarding extending negotiation deadline for the letters of intent with Ahana Ilwa LLC for the Bally's West and Campbell Sports Complex sites.
Motion to approve the extensions for letters of intent and authorize the mayor to execute the documents.
Second.
Moved to second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderperson Maynard.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Pulis. Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
And Hurt.
Aye.
Item 12G.
Report from the Fire Department regarding bid awards and purchase agreements for the new P25 alerting system, which includes new improvements to the ceiling for proper installation and electrical work, and the amount of $215,647.16 ARPA restricted funds to Builder Sales and Services of Moline, Illinois, Tri-City Electric of Davenport, and Raycom of Eastern Iowa.
Move to approve the bid awards and purchase agreements and authorize the fire chief and city manager to execute the documents.
Second.
Moved to second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Maynard.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
And Hurt.
Aye.
Item 12H.
Report from the Police Department regarding a memorandum of understanding with Rock Island County and the City of Moline for the 2024 Edward Byron Justice Assistance Grant, or J Grant.
Move to approve the memorandum of understanding as recommended and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement.
Second.
Moved to second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderperson Maynard.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
And Hurt.
Aye.
Item 13A.
Report from administration regarding disposal of the abandoned boats at Sunset Marina.
Motion to approve the removal and disposal of the abandoned boats at Sunset Marina.
Second.
Moved to second. Any discussion?
Yes. How many approximate boats are we talking about here?
Leslie? 15.
Hold on, I think it's around 10 to 15.
15.
15.
Okay, thank you.
Bill, Mike's got 15.
And yours?
So I have.
Yeah, mine. Yeah, that's my vote.
So we have identified the owners and sent notification out to them, and they're just saying they're just ignoring us.
So we have previously, what this process is that we're doing is we're sending certified letters. It's 30 days, and then we have to auction off the boats. Any money that we make off of the auction, we then send to the state as like unclaimed property, essentially, and then we can use the rest of it to pay off any of our liens that we have, because a few of these have it's like a ton of unpaid rent. But it's unlikely we're going to make any kind of money off of this because a lot of the boats that have been abandoned are not running and they're not in good condition.
They're not seaworthy.
Yeah. And then the issue is that some of the boats, we're sending it to both the registered owner and then the person that also signed the lease or the rental agreement with Sunset Marina, because sometimes they're not the same person either.
Thank you.
The notices have been sent out several times. We've been working on this for 60 days now or so or better.
But this process, we also have to we also have to publicize notice in the newspaper as well.
Thank you.
Are these the same boats that we tried to get rid of a couple years ago? I remember doing this a couple years ago, authorizing.
We did do it a few years ago, and we did get rid of those boats. So this is another round.
Yeah.
A lot of boats.
Yeah. There's no air in it. Okay, roll call, please.
Alderperson Maynard.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
And Hurt.
Aye.
Item 13B.
Report from the Parks and Recreation Department regarding allocating leftover ARPA funds for Saukey Golf Course Clubhouse project in the amount of $78,144.27 ARPA restricted funds.
Motion to approve the reallocation of ARPA funds.
Second.
Move to second. Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Alderperson Maynard.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
And Hurt.
Aye.
Item 14A.
Report from the Finance Department regarding the firefighters and police pensions funds actuarial valuations as of January 1st, 2024.
Move to approve funding both pension funds at the statutory minimum required contribution.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussions?
Does anybody know off the top of their head what the difference would be to 100%?
We can't afford it. It's
Was it 3 million?
Jessica?
The LNA 100% recommendation for fire pension was $5,405,512, which looks like, just doing rough math in my head, is about 300,000 more just for fire. And for police, it was $6,271,466. The statutory minimum was 6.1 for that one, so about 100,000 more for that one. So about another $400,000.
12 million, whatever, 12 plus.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Alderperson Maynard,
Aye.
Swanson,
Aye.
Parker,
Aye.
Pulis,
Aye.
Healy,
Aye.
Robinson,
Aye.
and Hurt.
Aye.
Item 14B and C.
Report from the Finance Department regarding a budget adjustment to the Parks and Recreation Fund 555 in the amount of $13,400. C, a report from the Finance Department regarding a budget adjustment to the Rock Island Labor Day Parade Fund 276 in the amount of $6,496.
Move to approve the budget adjustments A, B, and C. Just throwing the letters in there.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Maynard,
Aye.
Swanson,
Aye.
Parker,
Aye.
Pulis,
Aye.
Healy,
Aye.
Robinson,
Aye.
and Hurt.
Aye.
Item 15A. Oh, yeah, 15A, excuse me.
Move. Does one of us have to make the motion?
Yes,
yeah,
please.
Yeah. Move to close the regular city council meeting and convene the Rock Island Regional Port District meeting.
Second.
Moved and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're now in the Port Authority meeting. I look to Miles and Tom.
Yes, welcome to the port meeting. Just a brief update of the documentation required to access those grant funds we've discussed in the last few port meetings have been submitted to the DOT. They do advise it can take up to 12 weeks for them to go through the process of reviewing and ultimately executing the grant paperwork. That doesn't mean we can't do anything. We can begin the RFP process, putting together a list of potential kind of planning consultants who can help us with this type of plan and begin doing that consultant selection in that prevailing time. The goal would be that at about the 12-week mark, when we can expect to hear back from the DOT with the funds ready to move, we will have completed a selection process and found that right fit consultant. The actual length of the project is still to be determined. I know, Mayor, you had kind of asked, well, how long is this going to take? At present, we're not quite sure. That consultant selection process will kind of help to answer some of those timeline questions. I think reasonably speaking, we could expect 6 months to a year. It depends a little bit, of course, on all the bells and whistles that go into the planning process. That's where we stand. Are there any questions on that? Sweet. All right. Well, the port planning process continues.
I bring another thing up, and actually Dylan can chime in, but Dylan and I attended, I don't know if you want to call it a consortium of ports, and the annual meeting of the Eastern Iowa and Western Illinois Port District, if I get that right. Trying to learn this, but it was Western in Moline. Just so everybody here knows that 6 Iowa counties just formed a port district, port authority. Basically from Burlington all the way up to Dubuque, or they're close to, something like that. They're looking to do some of the same things we do, whether it be to work with terminals currently in place, build new terminals, do some planning, etc. But the annual meeting really was to try to help or try to get together a lot of different entities that get involved in these things, whether it be the Corps of Engineers, whether it be the Coast Guard. They had the Iowa DOT there, the Illinois DOT there. I think there was some from Fed talking about grant applications, and a number of different agencies trying to help explain what role they play and point you in the direction to help answer questions and do things. If I explained that, sounds about right. Local 150 engineers were there, once again trying to learn what role they may be able to play in this. So there was a lot of different agencies. I got to say it was a very diverse group there of industries and chamber, et cetera. But it was some good learning experience. A few things take away from there, helping us everybody point kind of like different types of grants and eligibility, et cetera, and what kind of monies are out there. Did learn that there's a couple of there's only 2 grant cycles left in the infrastructure bill that's out there. And so until that expires in 2026, I believe, 25, there's another one, and then 26, another. So people need to get their, if they're looking for that infrastructure money and some of the port money that's specifically in that infrastructure, we need to be moving along fairly quick if we want to look at other grants. So, Dylan, unless you have anything else to add to that, I don't know.
Nope, I have nothing to add. Thanks for recapping the event, Mayor. Is Moline and East Moline going to join us, or what? Where are they at?
I have not asked them specifically. Early on, they were asked to wait because we're the ones that created it and brought the idea forth and everything else to the first bite at that apple of grants and that sort of thing. But and we've got that. We've got the first grant and everything else. So I have not heard directly whether they are interested or not.
Weird.
So, so I can't say that they are or not.
More for Rock Island. Cool for me.
Yeah.
I don't mind.
Okay. Any other questions, comments about port? If not, we're on item 15C and need a motion.
Motion to exit the Rock Island Regional Port Authority and reconvene the regular city council meeting.
Second.
Moved to second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. We're on item 16, other business. Anything for the good of the cause out there?
I do. I have 2 things. On Saturday, Harburg had their Oktoberfest, and it was incredibly well attended. So kudos to them for holding a really great event. And then the other thing is, I know we don't often call out people, but I feel like I have to. In the Parks Department, Dan Gleason has done an amazing job with lots of hours this summer with the Tuesday night concerts, the Thursday night concerts. The last one with Fantastic Five was just so busy. I felt bad for him. He was just running around crazy. But kudos to the Parks Department for all the wonderful things that have gone on this summer and just really the great things that you provide for the families in Rock Island. So thank you.
Well said. Anything else? If not, we're on item number 17.
Closed session 5 ILCS 122C2, collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives.
Move to enter a closed session for the exceptions cited.
Second.
Moved to second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Oh, we got to do a roll call.
Oh, just say roll. Yeah, I did. I missed it. I jumped down. I apologize. Roll call, please. Yes.
Alderperson Maynard.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Poulos.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
And Hurt.
Aye.